Hey guys, welcome.
Hello.
We're back. We are so excited today. We have Hannah Morrison, who is a pastor's wife, mom of 3, social media influencer, and many, many other hats. But Hannah, thank you for being here.
I'm so excited.
I feel like we're already besties.
Yeah.
We really connected really fast.
Offline before cameras even started.
I like to do that.
But before we dive in, did I miss any titles of things that you're juggling?
Really, I just feel like it's mom right now, but
Which is enough.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like I wear about 10 hats with that.
Because your 3 are, how old are your 3?
I have an almost 8-year-old,
Okay.
a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old.
Okay. Yeah, she's in it.
I know.
It is.
I know, but it's so, when looking back, I'm like, I'd give money. I would pay a lot. Just one day. I just want to go back one day.
Yeah.
But then I would probably be super depressed.
Yeah.
So.
They're the best.
It really is good.
Well, one of the things we wanted to jump right into is, which there's so many things that we are going to get to touch on, not even getting to social media yet, but just your current stage of life right now. And as obviously we're talking about shifting seasons and different seasons that we're in, if you want to share a little bit about just being a pastor's wife and the journey that you guys are on and have been on, have you guys been in the church ever since you got married? I mean,
Yeah.
as in terms of, careers and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite stories to tell, actually. Paul and I met at church. We didn't go to the same college, but we met in college. And I sat he was sitting in front of me, and he heard me sing, and he left telling his friends that we were going to get married. We briefly met each other. And then the next 2 months, he dated me, but it was really courting, but he feels really embarrassed now about it. He was like, I'd never dated a Christian before. I didn't know what you're supposed to do.
That's good.
But then finally, 2 months later, on our very first real date, he told me that one day he wanted to plant a church. And if that didn't sound like something I wanted to do, we shouldn't even do a second date.
I love though that he was that upfront with you. Listen, here it is.
He had a very radical life change, had been raised in the church, but did not have a relationship with Jesus until 19, when he just had a complete life change. For 3 months, he didn't leave the house. It was actually really awful, but he was having withdrawals from everything he was starting to say no to.
Oh my gosh.
And life changed radically. And so for him, it was not a game. He was like, no, I will be planting a church one day.
Yeah.
And what was funny was I always thought I would be a pastor's wife. So I was like, great, sign me up. Let's go get married tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, and it's so attractive to meet somebody who's that firm in what they believe, to be like, oh, this guy's interested in me, and look how firm he is in his belief system and in his values and what he's looking for.
Yeah.
And he's interested, he must be really certain about me too. Right?
It's so real.
But you didn't plant the church right away.
No.
That was a journey, right?
Yeah. So that was in 2011 that we met, and then we got married in 2014.
Okay.
And we worked, I was a buyer for a company down in Dallas, and he was still in Bible college when we got married. And so we were there for 2 years in that season, and then we moved up north to the McKinney area to be part of a church that was launching our first day on staff. My husband's first day, and me with him was their launch day.
Oh my
and
gosh.
so then we were there for 5 years, and then felt during the curve of 2020, the 2-week curve, we were like, okay, we feel like it's time for us to step out, which is now we look back, we're like, oh, that was so cute. We thought it was 2 weeks to slow the curve. And we thought it was going to be a really fun life change. And then we stepped out at the literal craziest time in the world.
So you decided in 2020, let's plant a church.
Yes. Well, in 2018, we started having the conversation.
Okay.
And I was not ready because I loved our season of life so much. And I was like, yeah, that's cute. I'm not ready for that. Not yet. And Paul always jokes that I'm kind of the Holy Spirit of our family, because he'll get the vision. Yeah. And then once I feel released, I'll be like, okay, I think it's time. And he's like, great. So we make a great
go now.
team.
This is good.
I love that.
And I feel like the Lord always gives me vision for when it is time for our family to shift into the next season. He'll give me the plan for the pretty stuff. So Paul will have the vision. So like an example that's not church, when I felt like it was time for us to start having kids, Paul was ready like day one. I was like, I'm not ready to have kids yet when we first got married. And then I started picturing the nursery and I started getting excited. And I was like, I think it's time for us to have kids because I feel released to dream about the pretty things. And that's just kind of how it always works for us. And so when it was time for us to really start talking about planting was in the end of 2018, going into 2019. And I felt like the Lord released me to start dreaming about the church that was in our hearts. And we were talking about Knoxville, Tennessee. We were talking about somewhere on the Northeast coast. And then God gave me a heart for Frisco. And so that's where we landed.
So here you're in Frisco. So that now, so Cadence Church, Cadence Church is the church. And you guys are in Frisco, Texas.
Yes.
And how long has it been now? So Cadence has been, you just had a celebration, right?
Yep. We just celebrated 4 years.
4 years.
So we launched in 21.
That same. And that was it was such a hard/weird/good time, I guess.
Yeah.
To launch things. Everybody kind of was nervous and scared because nothing felt certain.
So real.
So yeah.
Yeah, we planted with a church planting network, but we were the first class of church planters post-COVID. And so we went in with like all of these pre-COVID how-tos and statistics that had always worked for everyone else. But planting in 2021, there were still people that weren't going back to church yet. And so we planted it in such a strange time where we were the new way to do it, our like class with our church planting network. And it was wild.
That's crazy.
And Frisco, actually, we're the first church in, I want to say it's 10 years, but we're the first church that's lasted more than 2 years in Frisco because it's such a difficult place to plant, which is just really interesting.
Which is interesting because you always think like we have so many resources and you can do anything. You know what I mean? Like there's kind of that stigma, right?
I think that's what works against
the world's your oyster.
Though.
And then all of a sudden I'm sure there's so many things that people don't realize that go into it. And to keep showing up and do it again and again and have the right network and community that's for you and with you. So through, I'm quickly, I'm not good at math, but I'm doing this math in my mind of, how you guys have been married and then planning a church and having 3 kids and everything that you do online to help women encourage in social media. That is a lot of change that's happened over the past, 6 years? Really, 6-7 years. Have there been times or moments where there's been certain things grounding you, either personally or the two of you, during that change? Because that could be easy to get caught up in all of it and be like, who am I in all of this, right?
Yeah, I mean, really, I talk about it a lot, but I feel like the last 5 years, I'm a completely different person. I was pregnant when we left our very stable job. I was 7 months pregnant. And when we felt like we were called to step out and start working on Cadence, I also owned a social media company that was our full-time income. And I ended up selling that between my third baby, which I lost, and then my now daughter, because I just was like, there's just too much going on. And so sold a company, had a baby during COVID, that baby was in the NICU, got surprise pregnant. We've definitely been through like a lot. But man, I mean, honestly, my relationship with the Lord is really what's grounded us, and having a husband who is the leader of our home and leans into the Lord with us and for us when I feel like I can't even lean in. And that's really what keeps us going.
Yeah. Do you find too how do I say this the right way? On social media, do you ever find where you'll want to share something? This is like pivoting a little bit, but do you ever find where you want to share something and then you're like, but I'm the pastor's wife? I don't know. Is there that like...
I know, I totally...
Does that sound... Am I asking... Does that come out the right way? You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
And like, even though okay, I know my heart, I know my values, I know my morals, but like when you put stuff out there, people could take it the wrong way. Or do you just have to like be like, I can't worry about that. And I know what I believe and I know what I stand for, and people may take certain things the wrong way. I don't know.
Yes. I think there's definitely a different filter. I grew a social media following by being almost too vulnerable. Not in a bad way, but
you had the social media before Paul, right? No.
No,
was it about the same
I
time?
started doing social media about 2017.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah.
But
it was
where
pretty
it was separate, right? Like it was, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was very separate.
Yeah.
It was like I basically treated it like a full-time job for about 5 years. Then I started my social media company and was doing both. But yeah, there's definitely, I have a new filter and I had to learn it a little bit because I'm not afraid to be very vulnerable. I'm not afraid to let people know exactly where I stand on something.
Is Paul like that too?
Or, oh yeah, more than me.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because usually I feel like it's off. You know what I mean? Where it'll be like no. Okay.
Paul has a better filter.
Okay.
I think than me because I'm just like, this is who I am and I don't care. And
and there is that responsibility that comes with being a pastor's wife or a pastor where you kind of have to go, I want to say exactly what I'm thinking right now, but that almost like a, not maturity, but it kind of is like a maturity that you have to embrace and go, okay, I can't. I have to be the pastor's wife today.
Right.
You know?
And there's also like, I think a good example is before you're a pastor's wife, conflict is probably not with people that are in your church. And so you can like talk about things online and be like, I went through this really difficult thing or whatever it might be. Yeah. And you have to be really aware. Something that I actually say a lot is I never want to be the reason for someone's church hurt. And there's only so much control we can have over that, right? And I can't
there is so much
carry.
Of that.
Right. I can't carry that, but I'm going to do everything I can to just not be that. And so I have to watch what I talk about. And also, there's a little bit more responsibility now when it comes down to what's going on in the world, right? Like I'm never going to sway from what the Bible says. I'm just more aware of how people might perceive the Bible and its truth with a filter if they think I'm something I'm not because of the way I present myself. And so I'm never going to water down what I believe the Bible says about any topic that's going on in the world. But I'm going to save a lot of those conversations for face-to-face because I want people to feel like they can trust me to have those conversations. And I have, you know, and so if I was just like really in your face, and I think there are people that are called to be like that online because that might be the only way people ever hear truth, right? But I think that my role is a little bit different.
And I mean, because you have so many roles, and then the other layer to that is also the kids, right? You have kids, and I think as they get older, they're probably going to have more conversations, or you know what you share with them, what you don't, and being able to see like that's my mom, you know, and so then you also have that weight that goes with it.
I can't imagine. Well, and I can't imagine too, going back to like your husband you guys choosing to start a church in the middle of all the things when I know what my life was like when I was having my first 2 kids, even my third, jobs were very I don't know what I would have done starting my business with young babies. So like how much did that put a strain on you guys? Like how much time did that take away? Because like I can imagine that's 24/7. Situation.
I'm trying to decide how honest I want to be right now.
I love that.
Planting a church is literally the hardest thing I've ever done. And not just the logistics side, which it is. It's really difficult. I think it's also very just emotionally a lot. But logistically, my husband did such a good job of where people work 24/7 to launch something. He did such a good job that when he came home, he was so aware that he was also living his best days with kids that were the age they are. And I genuinely cannot imagine what other wives who plant churches whose husbands love them and obviously love their family, but don't have that good boundary in place. Because I have 0 complaints about how my husband showed up for our family in literally the craziest, hardest season of our life.
So being able to show up for your family in a time that's really stressful, I think is really difficult because I have experienced it. I've watched my husband go through similar things where work, it's like almost like you live in this negative, like there's this negative constant wheel in your head of like, I'm tired of this. We just automatically go to like these negative places where it's hard to be like, today was such a blessing. These are the ways I was blessed today. Why it's so hard for us to think of those things instead of just go to, oh, it was stressful. I'm tired. I didn't get, I don't know why, but I think having that ability, like your husband to compartmentalize and come home and be able to know like, this is the most special time and I'm going to be present is a gift that he's not only giving himself, but you and your kids that is passed down for generations.
Yeah.
And it'll be his legacy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, 100%.
And there's nothing more important than
because I was going to ask about boundaries and it sounds like they're in place, which is great, but I'm sure it's also not perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's days where there's tantrums or things come up, right? And things are not as you thought they would be every day. And even with social media, is it, I guess for anyone who is listening or they're juggling and have kids, and have you found certain like daily rhythms, where you're like, hey, this has really helped us in this season, or as I'm juggling this, or I turn it off during this time, or like, do you have to tell yourself, you know what I mean? Do you have to be diligent on certain areas so that way it's not all consuming?
Yeah. I think having someone who's willing to be like, hey, I think it's time to like put it down, whatever it is, work or your phone or whatever it might be.
And being receptive to that.
Yes. And being receptive and knowing, okay, if my husband's telling me I need to put my phone down or I need to stop overthinking A, B, C, or D, I know it's for my good. And I know that he loves me enough to say that. And then vice versa too. But yeah, I think that there's one thing that we've really implemented is every single weekend we do a family movie night. And my kids look forward to it every weekend. And I'm trying to think of other things. I mean, we don't skip our quiet time in the morning. Even this morning, my daughter was up really early with me and I was doing my Bible. And she was like, can we watch something? I was like, well, we're going to finish me reading my Bible and then we'll go and we'll start doing all of our other things. But you're up really early. And so you're going to do my routine with me. And so she went and got a book and she came and sat with me. So really good. Sticking to those things and modeling it for your children, I think is really important.
It's the modeling. Yeah. I can tell. I mean, having a 15 and 12 and 9, almost 10-year-old, I can tell you it is not what I'm saying to them that's sticking.
Yeah.
It's what I'm doing.
Right.
And so the whole do as I say, not as I do is out the window. Like, they don't. I mean, they're watching everything you're doing. Yeah. So that's so great that
when you go from the season of knowing they are to then you're seeing it, you know what I mean? And then I'm seeing it live.
When they're telling you,
out.
When they're teenagers, they will tell you, like, they'll be like, you don't do that. My son wants Instagram. We were just talking about this before we started recording. My 15-year-old I told him, I said, make me a PowerPoint presentation on like why you should get Instagram. And he did in 24 hours. He had one done.
Oh my gosh.
I had seen a text between him and his best friend.
So you know that can be done that fast when it comes to
exactly. Noted, right? But I had read the night before a text message from him to his best friend. He was like, oh, I made a PowerPoint for my mom. And his best friend is my best friend's son. And so Reed was like, he was like, oh yeah, number 3, da, da, da. And then he was like, oh.
I would love to see this.
He said, oh, number 6. And then he wrote, you're cooked. And I thought, oh, I can't wait to see. I didn't read I wanted to wait till he presented it to me. So all I saw was number 6, you're cooked. And Cooper presented it to me the next day. And I was just waiting. I mean, the first couple slides, I was like, okay, whatever. They weren't the best arguments, but I'm just like sitting there going with it. He gets to number 6. First of all, he had scripture at the top.
Oh, Lord.
I can't remember what it was because I immediately like blacked out with rage because it was like, but it was my own fault. He listed like, you don't put your phone down. You don't have limits on it. And it was all the things.
The call outs.
But he just presented it wrong. The approach was not the right approach, but he wasn't.
This is the conversation for spiritual manipulation.
That's what it is. But he wasn't wrong. I mean, after the fact, when I like calmed down, I was like, gosh, I have to go to him and be like, okay, these are all things that I need to work on. But they're very much seeing everything and they have no problem telling you.
When you see your faults in a PowerPoint presentation.
That's when you have to really
worst
reflect.
Nightmare.
Yeah, that is called reflection, ladies.
Oh my God. I'll never get that. Number 6, you're cooked.
Oh my gosh.
He said you're cooked. So then the next day I was talking to my best friend and she was like, did Cooper give you his presentation? Or it came up somehow. And I said, yeah, you can tell Reed he was right about number 6. About number 6.
Does he have Instagram?
No.
Okay.
But I told him, I was like, you know what? I think I'm out. Because, moms are who they go to. I mean, my husband will tell you. He's like, I can't count that high to like tell you how many times I hear mom, mom, mom every day. And as they get older, it's worse. They just don't, my kids anyways, don't go to Kyle for anything because he's at work all day and like they're just used to me handling everything and nothing on Kyle. It just, that's the way most of the time it is. And so they come to me for, can I have this? Can I have this? I'm like, your dad and I actually make these decisions together. And so finally I was like, I actually don't make these decisions. Your dad's the leader of our house. You go ask him if you can have Instagram. You go ask. So last night, Cooper was like, do you know when dad's going to be home from football? Because Weston had football. And I'm like, I don't. Why? Because he wanted to go to bed and it was going to be late. I said, probably late. Why? And he goes, I mean, I've got to talk to him about Instagram. And I was like,
my gosh.
Oh yeah, you do. I said, okay, well, I'll let you know.
I don't want it. I hope it, never mind. I'm not going to say that because I do like Instagram, but I don't want it for my children.
I don't want it for my kids.
That's why I say all day, I'm like, I miss 7, 5, and 3 because they didn't even know what that was and they didn't care.
No, I know.
They didn't care, but it's manageable. It's just interesting because he is white. They don't know that I'm on my phone for work. They don't know that I'm making money. All they see is that I'm on my phone.
Right. We had that same conversation the other day, my husband and I, and with the kids is, I was responding to emails. My husband was responding to emails and we were doing it from our phone. So it looks like both of you are so I mentioned a comment the other day because we had something come up and one of our kids was kind of frustrated that dad was working and he was at the house, but not present. And I don't know if I told you this, but it's so interesting because when we grew up, I remember my parents left the house and they went to work and they came home. I didn't see them work. I mean, like I wasn't at their offices. I didn't see them. Now, I'm so grateful for flexibility, but the boundaries are getting harder because they're seeing us work. And just like you said, they don't know that I'm sending an email, but to them, all they see is like, mom's distracted. Right. And so that's been a real challenge. I would say the past 2 years for us is we both have flexible jobs, which we're so thankful for. But explaining that to the kids of like, we work off hours so we can go to certain things, but then what should be family time, then a phone is, you know what I mean? It's just the lines are blurred a lot more than they used to be.
Right.
And so finding boundaries I have found is harder because the boundaries look different every day and schedules are different. And as they're getting older. And so used to it'd kind of be like, okay, well, do you have a 5 o'clock boundary? I'm like, I can't have a 5 o'clock boundary. Like how you create boundaries or the margins. It looks different for every family.
Yeah. I think you have to be really honest with yourself too. Because like, I think you can set boundaries for yourself and time frames, but also like, do you need to be on your phone? Because I can catch myself scrolling. Yeah. Like I'll be on my phone responding to an email and then I'm scrolling. Yeah. And so quickly, I can catch myself being like, oh, it's work, but it's not, you know? Yeah. So you have to hold yourself accountable the most for what am I doing on my phone? And of course, like, I am working. Yeah. Paul is working and we do have these really flexible lives and schedules. But also you have to like, I feel like I've never had to have more self-control and practice it than being a mom and social media influencer and pastor's wife with a phone in my hand. You know what I mean? And I'm not great at it. It's like currently actively fixing and resetting some boundaries because it's so easy to... That's where I go to just black out. I'm like, okay, it's been a really stressful day. My feelings got hurt. I'm just going to go scroll.
Well, I'm curious too, as a social media influencer, do you read comments that people say? Do you go there? Are you like, I don't, you know what I don't know if you care to share?
You know, I haven't had a lot of mean stuff in a long time.
Okay.
When I first got started, I definitely had like a whole Reddit thread about me.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Jill, no, I don't even really know what Reddit is. I mean, I do, but the concept, but like...
Is Reddit just where you say bad things?
Yeah.
Basically.
People can like create a whole thread about
but
you.
Online, I should go Google my name. I should look up my name on Reddit and see.
No, absolutely not.
I
actually almost started to do that the other day. Like this was like probably a month ago where I was like, I wonder if there's anything new.
But Reddit is where you go write complaints.
You can write about anything on Reddit, but it's like you'll find whole threads about you.
So you had mean people?
Oh yeah, like whole threads about me.
I would cry myself to sleep.
But you know what? Okay, so I used to.
Okay.
And I used to I feel like I've done a really good job of curating. Like when I do things that are like, hey, click follow if you want to join my corner of the internet, I genuinely will be like, this is the nicest corner of the internet you're ever going to find.
Yeah. And if you're not, get out.
Yeah. Like literally though, I do block people a lot. Like even if someone wasn't intentionally being mean, I'm like, block. I don't need that anymore. And so I don't know. I feel like the algorithm really does find me the right people 95% of the time. But back in the day when I did my website full time and was like a true like OG blogger back in the day. I definitely got a lot more hate. But what's really cool, I think I've seen myself grow the most as a human, and actually specifically since becoming a pastor's wife, like a lead pastor's wife. I've been a pastor's wife for 10 years. But when you're a lead pastor's wife, it is very different. I have such a love and respect for like all, I can like think back of every church I've ever been part of. Like, I have such a different love and respect for every pastor's wife that I've ever been under, because it really is such a different weight. And I have become such a different person from who was reading Reddit threads in 2017 crying, and I would like have panic attacks. I'm like, oh, someone I don't know hates me. Like, woe is me. Like, that's how I used to be. And now I really feel like the Lord has given me a much thicker skin, but I still have such a tender heart. And that has just grown out of, I think, how difficult the last 5 years have been, and not just because of church planting. I lost a baby in the second trimester, and that will change you. And a lot of our friendships have changed over the last 5 years, because just naturally when you leave one church and go to another, like everything changes, and just a lot of change behind the scenes. And I feel like God has given me such a better understanding of open-handedness and loving people for just being there. And I'm okay if someone has a wrong perception of me. I'm okay with so many things that Hannah 10 years ago would have just like been up at night about. And I have friends that have grown with me. Literally, they knew me when I was 23 and now they know me at 33. And one of those friends actually spoken to me about 6 months ago. She was like, do you hear yourself sometimes? Like, what do you mean? And she was like, you are such a different person in like all the right ways. She was like, I've always loved you because you were so tender, but you're so much more, I can't remember the exact words she said. She said, you're so much more confident in saying no, and just a different like ferocity to me that did not exist before. And I really believe, like, although really horrible things have happened over the last 5 years and great things simultaneously, right? Like I feel like I have a very great concept of joy and grief coexisting in life because of multiple scenarios in my life over the last 5 years. But I really can see the ways that has given me such a different perspective of life. And I don't know, I just like, I view things so differently. If someone, like an example, especially as a church plant, if you talk to other church plant wives, you really are kind of a revolving door for 5 to 7 years, because people, especially in Frisco, the reason church plants haven't lasted past 2 years is because you have so many established churches. And so you have all of these incredible mega churches that have everything anyone could ever want. And so it's really difficult to keep up with that when you're in like a cafeteria at a high school, right? Like it's really hard. And so part of the church plant season is growing an authentic, real, great church, but also understanding you're not going to be for everyone. And also that's the way it is in life, right? Like you have people coming through all the time, and I just want to be able to go to bed at night knowing I was like the most real me today. I was honest. There are seasons of life I couldn't say I was honest to someone about how I felt about something. And I just really feel like I can stand in front of a mirror in this season of life and be like, I've been so direct, I've been so real, but I've also been really tender. And I just see the way my life and our experiences over the last 5 years of loss and new great things that have come into our life, all these things, I just can see the way it's impacted me to be such a better person, which I feel like is a gift from the Lord to see that, because on paper, like you could look at like all the things we've been through and all the loss or whatever, and people could be like, wow, you must really like feel guarded. I remember one time I was telling someone of experiences I'd had in past churches, and she's like, wow, you must have like a lot of church hurt. And I was like, I actually really don't. And she was like, wow. And I don't know. It's just one of those things of like, you can carry that and you can go through hard things and be really guarded, which I think for a season I was. But God's done so much of just like chipping away. And I feel like I have more to give people because of the things I've been through. And I'm not holding back because of the things I've been through.
Well, and that's powerful as a church plant wife and people coming to you guys needing help, support, right? And so I don't want it to come across like I'm trying to say like now or never, put your big girl pants on, but you kind of, maybe this is kind of what you're sharing too. You get in this role of lead pastor's wife. You're like, people need us.
Yes.
And they're coming to us, not that you have to be perfect and have it all together, but you got to show up. And for this church and a congregation of people who were messy, are going through stuff. And so one of the things I was going to ask too is, as I'm saying this, I'm like, how do you find little ways to fill up your cup? Because if you're constantly pouring out and being available to show up for like a whole church that needs you during a church plant time and a growing season and growing pains and children growing.
Hard enough when you're showing up for your kids and your husband and your friends and your family, but then to have a whole congregation that is like, hello.
Right. Are there days where you're just like, I'm exhausted? Or is it truly, you know what I mean? Like what hope can you share of like, these are ways I fill my cup so I can wake up the next day and
do it again.
Yeah. So when not to sound too churchy, but at church this past Sunday, I think it was this past Sunday, I was actually sharing this with the kids. It was a talk on the Holy Spirit, but I love this example. I'm such a visual person. He said, as humans, we're broken vessels, right? Broken. So imagine a pot that has holes all in it. And so I asked my kids, I was like, one of my son's answer was what I probably would have answered too, is I said, so how do you keep it full? And my son goes, by fixing it. And I was like, well, yes. I was like, but what? I said, but what if it breaks again because it's imperfect? And I was like, so what if it will not fix? And then the only answer is you have to keep pouring into it. Like it has to be like a waterfall of constant pouring into, or it will constantly empty. And so it was interesting because I was like, what is so funny though is our human response is like, well, fix it. Right. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. But like something else will come up because we are human. So we cannot like fix ourselves to be perfect. And so there was now I have this visual of like, I'm a broken pot.
Well, but also what relief comes from like accepting that we're not perfect. And then you lose that like need to try and strive to be that because you know that your value is in God and perfection is not what we're trying to attain here. When you release that, it's like, it's freeing. I feel like for me, it was when I was able to kind of go, oh, wait. What am I doing?
Right.
You know?
Do you have days where you're just like, I'm exhausted?
Yeah.
She's like, I have 3 kids under 7.
She's like, every day. No,
you know what, though? I think to answer the question, how do I feel? One, I just feel so filled up by the people that we have in place around us that help us carry the church, right? Like if Paul and I tried to plant a church by ourselves and we're like, oh no, this is our church and we take care of you, we would have died like 5 years ago, like in the church planting process before launch day. But we've had the most incredible overseeing pastors. We've had the most incredible people we've literally met because we planted a church who run the finances of the church now. And these people are over all of our small groups. And I think we've just done such a good job, but also have been blessed, obviously, is the first and foremost. God has brought the best people to us to steward our church well. And so without that, we would have just like killed over already. And then personally, I just am grateful for good friends. And I think, oh my gosh, I saw something on Instagram, so who knows how real this is. But it was like,
it's me with TikTok.
women have to have like a interaction with the people that they call their closest circle every 27 days, I think it said, or they feel depressed. Like there's something in us that we need.
I believe that. Mine is like 7 days.
Yeah.
There's like 28 minutes.
Mine's like, 30 minutes. I've got to text somebody.
You need that connection more than men. Obviously, men really need that too. But I think a lot of their connection is also with their wife and then, of course, friend groups. Yeah. But I don't know. I just think that's so interesting. And so you have to have good friends. You have to have people. And I text one of my best friends literally all day. And so I have the people that I'm talking to all day who it's the one who was encouraging me of like, do you hear how you talk now? Like it's so different. And it's so loving to know someone knows me that well that they can be like, hey, I knew you at 23 and this is you at 33 and it's not the same person, but in the best ways. Like you're still you, but like not. Yeah. And so to have people like that in your corner who love you and are championing for you and cheering you on and also correcting you. Like I think I used to really take correction so personally because if I'm being really frank, one of my biggest breakthroughs in therapy recently, because everyone should go to therapy, but I'm in grief therapy helping process a lot of the losses we've been through. And she was like, why does it matter to you so much if someone has the wrong perspective of you? And we're narrowing it down. She's like, keep going. And it was like 5 minutes of like getting down to it. And I was so afraid, or I am, this is an active process, afraid of someone perceiving I'm bad. And that comes down to perfectionism and all of these things. And so you can try so hard to be perfect and be good, whatever good is, somewhere along the journey, I decided, what does a good person look like? What do they do? How do they act?
That's how you receive love, right? And like if I'm good, they'll love me.
Right. Same. And so it was this really big breakthrough for me of like, just because someone has the wrong perception of me, I don't have to prove to them I'm not bad. Yeah. I don't have to prove to them anything. And having people in your corner that know you and love you and are reminding you truth is so fulfilling. And I think that's what really keeps me filled up to do the other things that keep me full, right? Like doing ministry keeps my cup so full. I love getting coffee with someone in my church, hearing their story and talking with them. And the best thing is when someone is like, can I please run something by you? Like I always joke, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, I would probably have been a counselor. But my husband's like, I think you would cry in every session with everybody. It's like a running
3 hours
joke.
later.
Oh, literally. I'm the token crier at the church. I can't preach because I'll just cry the whole time. Like, I don't know. God gave me really good tear ducts. But I love being a source and a resource for people to navigate whatever it is they're going through. And I think also I am really honest with the things I struggle with. And because I'm so vulnerable on social media, I think it also allows an open door for people to feel like they can come and talk to me about things. But especially with my church, it means the most. And I think it's the most important job I have next to my children is walking with people. And so that keeps me full.
I think going back to what you were saying about friendships, you and I were talking before we started and just the seasons of life that you're in. I think there's probably a lot of women I would hope that are listening that would go, oh my gosh, nobody, I don't think, prepares you for the different stages of friendships and the different depths. Those ones that you're talking about that are like kind of like your support system that have known you and can say, hey, this was you then and this is you now, that have been with you forever. Those friendships, if I could tell my daughter anything, I would be like, make sure you hold on, like stay connected to those in some way, because you're going to have your girlfriends that you do girls' nights with, and you're going to do play dates with. And those might be girls you met when your kid was in preschool, or when you met them at church, or you met them at some little class, or your kids are in dance together or baseball or whatever. Those are great friends, but the friends that have known you forever, if you're lucky enough to have that, which I have a handful and I'm so blessed by, we're actually closer now the older we get, because you realize the value in that support system. Not that any of the friendships between 25 and 40 didn't matter. They totally, every single one of them filled my cup in different ways. But having like a few core friends that have just really walked through different seasons with you is, I feel like as a woman, like very crucial to hold on to and hang on. And I want my daughter to know that. Yeah. I don't remember seeing my mom have a lot of friends growing up. My dad was a pastor though. And I was a pastor's kid. Totally different experience. It was back in the 80s and 90s. So very Southern Baptist. Yes. But it was more about the church than it was about her. You know what I mean? And I think being able to hold on to yourself is so important while you're also giving to other people, because you can only give so much when you're not good. So having those relationships that kind of keep you in line and help you hold on to yourself is so important.
It's so real.
Did you, sorry, this is turning, but when you said that, are there other pastors in the family?
No.
Okay.
We are first generation. And in every way, I mean, really, my husband jokes all the time. He's like, we fundraised to plant our church, which is so expensive to plant a church. We fundraise everything like with overseeing churches, but no legacy of ministry to stand on of like, hey, we've been in ministry for 10 years, like trust in us. No, you're the first of the first. Yeah.
Does your oldest have a sense yet of, I don't know, my dad's a pastor, he's on stage, my mom's, do you feel like that's hit yet?
Yes, I think so. I think we always joked when our sons were really little, we think that Knox, my oldest, is going to be the future pastor and Rory is going to fund it. But I almost think it might be the opposite now. But I told Paul that recently and he was like, no Paul's going to be Knox will be the pastor. Yeah. But I don't know. Well, I'll check back in about 20 years and let you know. But
I love like projecting what we think the children will do, because we could be so off.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But then there are certain things about them that I'm like, since like my oldest, I literally didn't know from sonogram to sonogram or appointment to appointment, like what was going to be happening, because he never moved in my belly. So I'd always be like, okay, this is my first pregnancy. So I didn't really pay as much of attention, but we call him the sloth now because he moves very slow, most precious, but calm human being. My second was lunatic in my belly. Like 100%. He was lunatic when I was pregnant.
Flipping.
37 weeks, came out and flipped sideways. Like literally turned transverse, and I had to have a C-section at 30.
And he's still flipping?
It hurt so bad. And he still can't stop moving. He moves while he's sleeping. Yeah, constant movement. Crazy. So it's certain things you're like,
it's so real.
Oh, it's been since literally they were forming in my womb. And then some things I was like, oh, Weston's going to totally be this. And now I'm like, maybe he's not. Maybe Cooper, it's funny how they kind of switch as they get older. They turn into teenagers.
For sure.
Puberty's a whole nother ball game, and they turn into different humans altogether.
Do the boys, like when you're shooting content, do they like, because I'm sure at first, they're kind of like just doing their own thing. And now is it like, do you get the eye rolls yet? Or the like,
no, I want to be in it. And I'm like, Knox should be a YouTube star if we let him. Yeah. And it's a big fat no for us. Yeah. But he really wants to be.
He will find a way.
So, but I'm very protective of them, especially over the last few years as pastors' kids. Even that, we were talking earlier about kind of having boundaries of what I share about. I used to be like a very open. I wrote 2 pieces a week on a blog website and talked about like everything, but I always had boundaries. Like I didn't talk about potty training. There was things that I had seen other bloggers go before me in that I was like, okay, I understand why you shouldn't talk about that. That might be embarrassing one day. But I've been very aware over the last couple of years of like, I just want them to be kids and I want them to have a private life. Yeah. And so, I mean, you'll see them on my social media, but I'm very protective. Right. And then now there's like all this stuff coming out about AI and
that makes me so nervous. I'm like,
I know,
oh my gosh.
Don't show your kid's face because it's going to be like identity theft in 20 years. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know.
And I think you have to find this really fair line of I'm not going to live in fear. Yeah, right. I'm just going to do my part. So no, I'm not posting my kid like so innocently when my firstborn was very tiny. I would post him in just his diaper. And then I started reading like, don't even do that. Don't post your babies in their diapers because there's weird people in the world. And so I've just grown a lot in my awareness of what I do share. But my son loves to act. He loves putting on a show. And so sometimes I'll invite him in to do things with me. But it's never, I mean, I literally, if there's ever an idea I have, I'll be like, hey, do you guys want to do this? And usually Royal is going to be like, no, I don't want to do that. Chloe's like, put me in front and center. And Knox is like, heck yeah, let's do it. But I'm never going to make my kid be in something. And so honestly, people might look at my social media and be like, wow, you like your daughter so much. I'm like, yeah, she's the one that's on my hip all the time. Like it's
and
easy.
She loves the camera.
Yeah,
she's a girl.
she loves it. And Knox loves to be in stuff. But Rory, who's arguably the mushiest and like very close to me as a kid, my oldest is very close with my husband. My middle son is very close with me. And then Chloe's, you know, just all over the place. And that's not to say, I never want to say that and be like, Knox and I are not close. No, but that it's just a tendency.
It's a different connection.
Yeah, it's a tendency. Knox will go to dad, Rory comes to mom. But you don't see that because I'm never going to make my kid be in a video.
And I think you
I
said
will
knowing
always
your kids.
say, you guys don't have to do this. If you don't want to do it, whatever. It's fine.
And knowing your kids too. And I one of my kids does not like her picture being taken and does not want to be on it. And I've
is that Livy?
No, Marley.
Oh, Marley does.
Yeah. Oh, Olivia would. Olivia's over there.
Yeah.
No. In fact, there are times where I have to, and even if it's like for something, I'll be like, go with your brother, and I'm like, okay, fine. Like it is. Right. If it's a family photo, I can kind of force it. But no, very much does not like. And she's a very private person, and so I think at first I was kind of like just pulling the mom card, like, oh, you know. And then recently, as she's getting older, I'm like, okay, no, I actually really need to respect that. If she doesn't want, there are certain things where I'm like, it's a family picture, we're taking it.
Right.
But apart from that, I'm like, okay, I got it. So it is interesting on my mom sometimes because she loves to stay up. She's like, I don't see any. And I'm like, it's because she doesn't want to. Right. And I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
And if one day down the road, if she says like, where's pictures of me?
You didn't want to be in any.
How I tell Andy that when she doesn't want me to video her, I'm like, but don't you love watching baby videos of yourself? You're going to want to watch these back one day. For our own personal. But I think too, it teaches them to be able to set boundaries for themselves. Like when she's able to tell you, I don't want to be in that, and you respect that, that's teaching her how to set a boundary, which is huge.
Right.
And it's not easy. It was hard for me to do it because I try not to project myself on my kids, but I'm like, talking about like why certain people don't think a certain way, or like why can't you just be happy? It's hard. It's hard, especially with the kids because there's so much that we can't control. What would you say to shifting? I always love like how many times in the next years will we use that word? But with Cadence and the church, is there anything that you're able to share? Is anything coming up? Are there any other transitions that everyone can expect or you're excited about?
I feel like being a church plant, you are literally just in shifting gears at all times.
So this is just the perfect podcast.
It really is. Like,
embrace it.
It is. Because until you have your own building, you are at the mercy of whatever location you're at. And I mean, you just
how
have
many
to,
locations have you guys had to
we've
shift?
Been in
three.
Okay. And we're 4 years old. Okay. So we were in Prosper ISD at a high school when we first launched because it was literally the only location post-COVID that was allowing churches to even use it. And it was like a 2,000 seater, like the biggest, newest school in Prosper at the time. We're like this tiny little church plant. And so as soon as we were allowed to go somewhere else, we were like, okay, because also it was so expensive. I'm like, Lord, however you sustained us through that season, like y'all would literally die if you knew how expensive it was.
I never realized because that schools can charge for churches.
I didn't know that.
It was like renting a wedding venue every weekend. I'll give you that.
That just seems wrong. I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but I'm like,
no, let's talk about it. I'm a taxpayer to Prosper ISD.
Yeah. But like, and they're charging churches. I didn't know that.
I thought
use, like it's a gift.
Church used them for free. I never knew that till just now.
I didn't know it until we were one.
Wow.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, it's really
I feel like we should be able to talk about that.
Yeah, we should.
But every school can, or they have to?
They have to.
But the amount is up to the school?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. High schools are the most expensive, but actually now we've been in this for 4 years.
So you're a taxpayer and then you're paying for the facility.
In my opinion, it should be like the library.
If
I'm a taxpayer, my husband might be mad at me for saying
no, I know. We don't know the answers. Like, we don't know the why behind it.
I don't think anyone would disagree.
I think so too. I'm like, I get, like in Frisco, you have to pay if you're not a Frisco resident to go to that awesome library.
Right.
But if you are a taxpayer to Frisco,
you get to use the library.
Have automatic access as just a Frisco resident.
And the school wouldn't be used on a Sunday morning.
Right.
Let's just be clear about
The
that.
school wouldn't be there if you weren't paying your taxes.
I know.
Right?
I know.
What are they doing with the money that they make off you guys?
I don't know.
Pep rallies?
But I would never. I would have been like, maybe they charge them like $500 or something.
No, because I remember I think we had a
happy.
conversation at one point or something, and we were just catching up, and you were sharing with me the cost of it. My mind was blown. I can't look at a school the same now.
I know.
When I see a church sign outside of it,
No, I'm not going to be able
like
to.
It's really difficult.
Isn't that crazy? Did you?
Middle schools. So we went from a high school, which was really expensive, to an elementary school because it was more affordable for us. And it was great. Every location we've had, I truly can see like God's hand on it. I'm so grateful. But we're definitely praying, but we're in a city and we felt called to a city. So I know God's going to provide.
For sure.
But we're in a city where it's almost landlocked, right?
Yeah.
And so
if you're listening to this and you live in Frisco and you have a location,
Jehovah Jireh.
maybe this is the whole point of this.
Oh my gosh.
If you have a location that Cadence Church.
Oh my gosh.
Please
It's
let us
really
know.
wild. What's cool though, so I will say right now, we are meeting on Saturday nights.
Oh, that's right. I saw that.
Do
you like it?
Okay, so when we presented this to our leadership team, I
many
was
opinions,
the only vote for no.
Oh, really?
I was. And I was like, what?
I like my Sunday mornings.
I know. So it's been a really fun season. We love Saturdays. It's been really fun for our family and people love it, right? Like a lot of the bigger churches have Saturday night services. It's been a little bit difficult to have that be our only service because even
then do you feel like you're competing with sports?
Well, yeah, like even our like what we would say is our core church membership, we're only seeing like half of them at best on every Saturday because they might have had a baby shower, they're out of town. Whereas like Sundays, things just aren't planned on Sunday mornings, you know?
Yeah.
So we love Saturdays and we're so grateful. We literally, it's almost hard. Our first few weekends that we were in, we're renting a church. So this church is being really generous. Okay. We have this entire church building. It's incredible.
Great.
I'm so grateful. And it was so weird the first few weeks because we launched in a school, seeing your people walk into like an actual church building.
That looks like a church.
And I'm like, this is like when you see a teacher at like a grocery store off hours. Like, this is so weird.
She goes to the grocery store.
Yeah. It was like so weird at first, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine going back to a school, but we are working on finding a location to get us back to Sundays. But yeah, and so to answer your question, all that roundabout.
I don't know what my question was, but
I feel like being church planters, you are constantly in a season of shifting. And that's actually been really hard for me. I need stability, security, like, and not just financially, which that also has just been like in any type of entrepreneurship. Like you are at the mercy of how things are going. So it's been such a roller coaster, but I do feel like God's grown me so much in my ability to like go with the punches. Whereas before I was like, white knuckle, heels in the ground. Don't you dare push me into something I don't want to do. Yeah. And God has really grown me. Oh, yeah. He's like, you're going to have to lose that so fast. I think the first 6 months of the church, I had all that just like whacked out of me.
Not like a slow transition, but like.
Yeah, no, God was like, that has to go right now. Like, that's not going to work for the next season.
He works really fast when you let go.
Oh, like,
it's really amazing how fast, but it's amazing how tight we hold on to.
Yeah.
You know, surrendering is very difficult.
It is.
Yeah. Has there been anything to that recently as we wrap up here in the last few minutes that God has, or that you have felt that you're just like, I've been feeling this nudge to either shift and pause or shift and go, or, you know, are you in a season of, well, you said you're in a constant season of change. I feel like you could be here every week and it would be different.
We could talk about something.
But I feel like ours is the same way, Stacy.
Yes.
I mean, mine's a little less. I do think when you get older, things do settle a little bit. 30s are really busy.
Oh, I have one last question because I know we have to wrap up.
Yeah.
Because I know you talked about how much has changed in the past 5 years. And I know we're still young. We're not kicking it. But if you could look back and tell your younger self something that after all the change that's happened over the 5 years, plus, is there anything that you would tell yourself when you were younger of like either do this, don't do this, or just hold on tight?
Gosh, if I think about like younger me, like back, if I think of like 16-year-old Hannah, I think of you're going to get to a season where you don't care in the best ways. I had an eating disorder. I had all these things that were so rooted in that perfectionism of be good, be the best, be perfect. And just like if I could go back and tell 16-year-old me and like hug her and be like, you don't have to be perfect, but I promise you're going to get to a point where
you're okay
like, it's like when I turned 30, I was like, I don't care about anything anymore.
Wait
except
till 40.
My family. I can't wait.
Wait till 40. It's amazing.
Like, genuinely, something like happens the older you get that you
just learn more, right? Like we just are wiser and we go, oh, that doesn't matter.
You don't.
I think the perfection thing is key though. And I don't know if we would have changed. Like I wonder that if I had have told myself that, if I still wouldn't have. But I
think
was
you have to experience
very much a perfectionist. But I do think, like you said, just letting yourself know like it's okay. You know what I mean? Like let it go. And the fact of its perspective setting is hard when you're younger. I think, and being able to, like you said, just give yourself a hug and be like, just calm down.
They teach you that. And when you do the nervous system work that I've done with my coach, to tell your younger self, like, you're good. Like, it's okay. Because we do
tell yourself that now.
Like you to kind of talk to your younger self and because your body responds based on like your younger self's experiences, right? And your head is going, well, I know this is fine, but your body is responding differently. And it's like, once you can connect those two and you realize like, okay, I'm not that, my body, I'm not that little girl anymore. I'm fine. Everything's okay. Like it all comes together. But we just, when we're younger, it's like, we haven't had the experiences to be able to like wrap all that in a package together and be able to get there, you know?
Give yourself a little grace.
It was so fun having you.
Thank you for being here.
Yay.
So we have so many things you guys can comment on this one. If you're looking for a church, if you have a space, if you want to be encouraged, Hannah, do you want to share your personal Instagram with, I mean, some of the videos you do are hilarious. Like, I just want to say, I will go on sometimes to laugh, to cry, to like, it is really fun. So yes, your personal Instagram, which we can drop below, is
Hannah MC Morrison.
Yes. And then the Cadence Church is in Frisco. Is it the Cadence
We're
Church?
Cadence Church, but for our social media, the Cadence Church.
Thank you for taking the time and your million things you have going on.
Thank you.
And if you guys can continue to like this and share for anyone who might be supported or encouraged.
Absolutely. We would love it.
Yep. We'll continue to share more and join us next time.
Yeah.
Bye. Guys.